Let me ask you something straight. Have you ever sat in a room full of people and still felt painfully alone? Not because nobody likes you. Not because you're being ignored. But because the way you see the world, how you read people, how you process situations, just doesn't match the crowd sitting right next to you. You smile at the right moments. You nod at the right cues. You say a few polite lines to keep things smooth. But inside your head, a completely different movie is playing. Are they performing right now? How can they not notice what's obvious? Why are their words saying one thing, but their energy says another? If that sounds familiar, stay here. I'm not about to give you a motivational speech. I'm not here to comfort you with cheap lines like, "You're special, keep going." That stuff is weak and useless. What I'm sharing is applied psychology. Some people are wired with nervous systems and brains that process reality more deeply, more complexly, and because of that, they get misunderstood more than most. Researchers have identified 6 traits that commonly show up in people whose minds operate on a different level than average. You don't need all 6. If you match 3 or 4, you're already very close to the profile. And here's the brutal truth. Most people with these traits spend their entire lives believing something is wrong with them. They try to fix themselves to fit the crowd. They blame themselves for not blending in. They try to normalize a brain that was never built for normal. When the reality is often the opposite. You're not broken. You're running a different operating system. But because you live around people on the standard version, you start thinking your machine is defective. All right. Let's begin. You recharge alone, and crowds drain your battery. I need to be careful here because people will label this introversion. No. It's deeper than that. Introversion is preferring quiet. What you experience is real energy drain. You can socialize. You can talk. You can smile. You can be polite. But when you stay in social settings too long, your battery doesn't just dip, it collapses, like someone pulled the plug. Why? Because your brain is constantly paying attacks, reading emotions, scanning social cues, managing conversation, tracking facial expressions, adjusting tone. That takes bandwidth, serious bandwidth. And the moment you finally shut the door, sit alone, and get silence, your brain wakes up. Ideas surface. Connections form. Thoughts that were suffocating finally get oxygen. Highly complex minds often need low stimulation environments to reach deep processing. That's why your best ideas don't happen in meetings. They happen in the shower. At 2 a.m. In quiet rooms. In solitude. So don't hate yourself for not being social. You can be social. You just pay a higher energy cost than other people. You don't stop at the surface of anything. Most people hear an answer and move on. You hear an answer and your brain instantly fires the next question. Why? Why is it like that? What happens if we change one variable? Where is the root cause? You're not trying to overthink. You simply can't switch it off. You dig into the why behind the why. You need structure, mechanism, logic. And that's why people hit you with lazy comments like, "You think too much. Just let it go. Stop making it complicated." They don't understand, what they call thinking too much is often high cognitive drive. You have a low tolerance for missing information. Your brain hates unfinished loops. It feels physical discomfort when things are vague. It needs closure through understanding. Yes, it can be exhausting. But it's also the source of real insight, the kind most people never touch because they stop too early. If you relate to even one of these first 2 traits, comment "I get it" so I know you're still here. And if you want part 2, the next 3 traits, hit like right now. Don't be lazy. A deep mind with lazy hands is a wasted life. People think you're lazy, but the truth is, you're selective. This is where a lot of people get judged unfairly. You're not avoiding effort. You're not sitting around waiting for luck. But people read you as unmotivated, cold, low energy. Why? Because you refuse to commit to what you see as meaningless. A lazy person avoids work. A selective person evaluates whether something is worth the cost before committing. Your brain runs an invisible calculation. Is this worth my energy? Does it align with what I actually care about? Is the payoff worth the price? If the answer is no, you don't move. And outsiders assume they're lazy. No. You're simply not spending your life's resources on trash. Here's a hard truth most people can't accept. Many busy people aren't productive, they're just incapable of saying no. They run around like headless chickens to feel important. Meanwhile, you only act when it's worth acting. The ability to say no to everything that doesn't deserve your yes is a form of intelligence. Many people take 10 years to learn it. You've had it for a long time. You read people so accurately it sometimes scares you. You walk into a room and within minutes, sometimes seconds, you know. You know who's real and who's performing. You know who's stable and who's falling apart inside. You know when someone's words and energy don't match. And the most uncomfortable part? You're rarely wrong. This often comes from high interpersonal sensitivity. Your nervous system picks up micro-expressions, breathing shifts, hesitations in tone, eye avoidance, forced smiles. Other people don't notice. Or they notice but can't assemble the full picture. You can. Fast. Clean. Accurate. That's why your inner circle is small. You don't enjoy fake social connection. You don't need many people, you need the right people. And because you see intentions clearly, surface-level relationships stop being attractive. Some will call you paranoid. Some will call you hard to approach. Let them talk. You're not hard to approach. You just won't pretend to be stupid to fit in. If you've ever been labeled lazy or paranoid when deep down you knew you were simply aware, comment aware. And if you want more scripts like this, psychology, truth, no fluff, hit subscribe. If you don't, you're choosing to stay blind on purpose. Your interests don't follow the crowd, and you've never needed trends to live. While people chase trends, chase what's hot, chase whatever the algorithm boosts this week, you're often locked into something completely different. Not because you want to be different, but because your curiosity comes from within, not from public approval. You can obsess over a topic others find weird. You can spend hours dissecting, connecting, researching, just because it makes you feel alive. And here's what makes you different: you tend to go deep instead of wide. Most people know a little about many things. You know a lot about a few things. That depth is what creates real expertise. You don't need applause to know something is valuable. You can feel it. So if you've ever been called strange, odd, not like others, sorry to tell you, you're not wrong. You just refuse to copy-paste your mind from the crowd. When everything is chaotic, you become calm and extremely sharp. This one is rare. When drama explodes, when conflict rises, when people react like fireworks, you go quiet. Not because you don't care. Not because you're frozen. Your default stress response is, observe first. You read the room. You scan the situation. You gather facts. You process. While others speak to vent, you speak to solve. So when you finally respond, it's short. It's precise. It carries weight. This ability, emotional regulation during chaos, takes many people a lifetime to learn. Therapy, books, training. For you, it's often built in. And if you're listening right now thinking this is me, congratulations. That's mental strength most people don't even realize exists. The things that made you feel ashamed might be what makes you rare. If you saw yourself in traits 3, 4, 5, or 6, keep this idea locked in your mind. Almost every one of these traits has been used by someone to shame you. You like solitude, they call you cold or antisocial. You go deep, they call you overthinking. You're selective, they call you lazy. You read people well, they call you paranoid. You don't chase trends, they call you weird. You stay calm in chaos, they call you emotionless. Ironic, isn't it? The things that make you different are the same things people misunderstand. And after being misunderstood long enough, you start doubting yourself. But the truth is simple. Your brain isn't broken. It's built differently. And every design comes with a cost. The cost of feeling alone. The cost of being misread. The cost of struggling to find your people. But it also comes with value. Deep insight. High standards. Emotional self-control. The ability to see beyond the surface. The first step to stop suffering inside your own mind is this. Understand what system you're running. When you understand the design, you stop trying to fix something that was never broken. You simply learn how to use it correctly. If you want me to keep making scripts like this, psychology, truth, clarity, do these 3 things now. Comment next so I know this should become a series. Share this with someone who secretly hates themselves for being different. Subscribe so you don't have to search for this again. The algorithm doesn't reward people who don't take action.